Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Courtside Soundoff podcast today. I'm Josh Shivanoff. He's Angel Ortega. A lot of stuff to talk about this week. It is UFC 257 Fight Week, ladies and gentlemen. It is conference. It is championship weekend. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Before we get into that, I want to talk to you guys about Rogue Energy. This episode of the Courtside Soundoff podcast is brought to you by Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy was founded in January of 2017 to be the best gaming drink in the world. They have developed a premium stack in the form of a delicious energy and focus drink. It is designed to replace unhealthy canned energy drinks, coffee, and even traditional pre-workouts. Rogue Energy is sugar-free, is loaded with vitamins, antioxidants, and anti-nootropics. They're designed Rogue Energy for the emerging professional and competitive gaming market and continues to have fantastic carryover and success with students, athletes, entrepreneurs, and anyone looking to optimize their mental and physical performance. If you would 10% off your order, use the code SOUNDOFF at checkout. Use code SOUNDOFF at checkout for 10% off of all your energy needs. Packed show this week, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing sponsor, as always, Rogue Energy. But, let's just go and kick it off. Last Saturday evening from Yas Island, Fight Island. Man, Max Holloway, what can you say? Statistically, the most dominant performance in UFC history, going up against Calvin Kattar, a guy who many people proclaimed, even us on this show, I think we said it a couple times, arguably the best pure boxer in the UFC. Max Holloway took that to heart, and he beat, there's no way for me to say this otherwise, he put a whooping on that man. He beat him like he owed him money, okay? It was ruthless, it was disgusting. It should have been stopped multiple different times. However, the overall scorecards ended up being 50-43, 50-43, 50-42. Max Holloway, your winner via unanimous decision. Angel, man, what can you even say about that performance?
It was insane, man. There was I think undisputedly now probably the greatest performance of his career. But I wanted to ask you something, and I've had this question itching at me since this fight happened. Josh, on their given night, who was the greater fighter? Max Holloway versus Brian Ortega, Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar.
See, that's an interesting point. That's something I was thinking about. Imagine having, because I've said this before, I think I said this to you, that the Max Holloway that fought Brian Ortega is the greatest fighter who's ever fought, or something along those lines.
On that night.
On that night. I'd still take that Max Holloway purely because he had the element of grappling mixed in. I mean, there was no threat of that with Kattar, and we kind of knew Kattar's deficiencies going in. Ortega hits harder. He's arguably the better all-around striker just because of his kicks. He's very unorthodox, and he has the power like Kattar doesn't have.
He didn't throw a lot of kicks either.
Yeah, huh?
He didn't throw a lot of kicks. I mean, he threw like some. It was mix up, but it wasn't to the extent of
kicks is not the right thing I should have said there. Yeah. I mean, he does throw them occasionally, but more like he utilizes elbows a lot more. He's very good in the clinch, and that's something Kattar doesn't have. But overall, he's more diverse. And the thing about that fight is Max shut him down on every facet, even nearly submitted him at one point in the fourth round. I'm not sure you remember with the guillotine choke. He was that was so dominant. He also actually stopped him. I mean, he should have stopped Kattar, but he didn't. So I think and it's either or, honestly, because he beat up both of them really, really horrendously. So it really doesn't matter which one I pick. But yeah, I'd say the Ortega fight was more impressive to me personally.
I mean, dude, it was the greatest title defense we've seen ever. I mean, oh god. But yeah, dude, number of records were broken. I actually have them here in front of me. So obviously, more strikes landed in a fight in UFC history. Highest strike differential in a fight. Most significant strikes attempted in a UFC. Most significant head strikes. Most strikes attempted. Most distance strikes landed. Most significant strikes landed in a UFC round. Most significant body strikes landed in a UFC. Most distance strikes landed in a UFC. Like it was a lot, man.
Yeah, that Max Holloway guy, he's pretty good, huh?
He's a tough guy.
Yeah, he's a pretty good fighter, huh? Yeah, it was insane. I mean, I was sitting there. There are very few times because I've been watching MMA for I'm not. It's been so long. It's kind of weird to think about because I remember being just getting into MMA, but I've been probably watching MMA for like 8 years at this point. And very rarely now do I like kind of just because I'm used to it. I don't jump out of my seat at a whole lot of shit. I literally was sitting there just watching the fight, and I remember at one point, whenever he hit him in the 5th round, he hit him no look, and he started talking to commentary and was dodging strikes while not even looking at Cater. I literally went, "What the fuck?" Like it was just like it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. Like it was insane, dude. Like it was just there's no words to describe how dominant he was, dude. Like it was just insane.
No, you're right, and I agree. I was the same way, dude. I was sitting down eating my Subway sandwich. Yes, I was eating a Subway sandwich.
Subway, you're a Subway guy?
I do all of the places, but
really,
that's besides the point, right?
Disappointing. All right, continue.
I literally like spit out part of my sandwich because I'm in disbelief, man. I shit you not. I spit out part of my sandwich because it just got that crazy, and I'm passionate about this shit, man. I've shed tears for fights before, Josh. Just because
Which fights? That's an important question.
Like with the Loma one, that one was weird for me because it was it was just such an unbelievable moment that I got a little emotional because of just the situation, how young the guy was, and he was not much older than me. So seeing that kind of success in a person and especially in the way he did it was kind of crazy to me. So I teared up a little bit. I know there's another one a while back where I was just like, holy shit, and I was just like something like a little something story coming out. But it's just because you're to me, I'm just that much in love with the sport, I'm just that much for it. That's one in recent memory. It wasn't MMA, it was boxing, but I know there's more. But then I mean the Max one had me reacting.
Yeah.
I don't always react. Sometimes I'm just kind of there and I'm silently reacting. And but that one I was by myself like talking.
Yeah. Like it was unfair. Like that's why I was like, what the fuck? Like that's unfair. Like it doesn't make sense to be that good. And that's the thing, man. Calvin Kattar is really good. Like he's really, really good. Like there's a reason why some people were picking Kattar, dude. Like this was his shot because he's beaten some really good dudes. Jeremy Stevens, he beat Dan Ige. This was his shot to get a win and potentially fight for the title next.
Okay, can I be real with you?
At this level, you don't see that type of domination. That's why it was insane.
No, you're right. But let me be real with you. There was a moment in time before we made our choice where I considered picking Calvin Kattar. I didn't do it. But it did cross my mind because I'm like, this is an dangerous fight for Max. There's another guy who's a high level striker, so we thought.
No, he's still high level.
He's still high level. He's still high level. I was just joking around.
I was like, damn, dude, jeez.
I'm just memeing with the whole "I'm the greatest, boxer on the planet" thing, and Conor's like, "Are you now?" But I thought I was like, man, I don't know, dude. I'm kind of scared. I think he could do it maybe. And on the night of, when we made our choice, I was like, something, I won't doubt. The blessed era doesn't end, and it hasn't. And it was like we said, we can't talk about it enough, and it's been talked about all week, and there's been so much news on it, and Max has gotten so much love for it, and he's on top of the world right now with obviously after his win, proposing to his girlfriend, now being engaged, so now his fiance. And funny enough, dude, I heard that during the interview he talked about Warzone, like he talked about how a gun had to get nerfed in Warzone. So I mean, that's how calm he is, dude. Like it's dope. There's everything that needs to be said has been said about this fight. We already know the matchmaking. If Brian wins against Volkanovski, he gets that rematch. The awkward situation is, though, Josh, if Volkanovski beats Brian Ortega, what happens with Max?
I don't know, and that's what sucks. Because in no dimension because it's the problem is that you can't throw Max at some other dudes in the top 10 because it's like you're risking a death in there. You know what I mean? Like the only.
But it's not even just that. They don't deserve to fight Max in essence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's no disrespect to those guys in that weight class because a lot of those guys are really fucking talented but just don't have the maybe a couple names here and there. I feel like the only guy who can maybe get fast track and he would have to win another fight. And I don't know if you agree with me on this. I just think because of how good he is and his history is Edson Barboza.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. I think Barboza's going to get fast-tracked in that division just because featherweight doesn't have a whole lot of names.
Yeah, and dude, he fucking killed it in that
Yeah.
debut at featherweight.
Should have beat Ige, too. Should have beat Ige. He got robbed. That's actually a robbery, dude.
But yeah, there's no one that really, because then you're taking away from guys who are future challengers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At least I feel like that. Because then we'd be taking away from Zabit, we'd be taking from Yair, we'd even be taking away from Josh Emmett, who's what, like on a 2-3 fight win streak.
Yeah, Josh Emmett's been killing it lately.
Yeah, and it's almost unfair to those guys because they won't be challenging for the title when they're maybe one fight away from it or 2 fights away from it, you know, and they're just gonna, you know, no disrespect, but might lose to Max and not even be at the big dance, you know.
Yeah, so it doesn't make sense for a lot of people. So I think that's something that it's going to be interesting for UFC to figure out because it's so weird to me that they're kind of normally all patterns which suggest that Max wouldn't get the title shot and that he would have to wait for somebody to beat Volk. But now Dana said, like, you know what, we're going to put him in there with him, like pretty much that Max will probably get the winner of this, which is interesting to me because it's like, I mean, Robert Whittaker's killed like 3 dudes in a row now who are all top 5 guys, and he can't get a title shot because he lost bad to Izzy, but Max has lost twice in a row. And I get they're obviously different situations, but it's interesting to see. I mean,
and the thing is, we're not far from that Volk Bryan fight. That's here in a few months. Like, what is it, 2-3 months?
Yeah,
and
real soon.
And regardless, we're going to see Max Holloway fight one more time this year.
God willing.
Yeah. But no, I don't doubt
Stipe schedule.
True, but I don't doubt it. I think Max will fight one more time this year regardless.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, so Max Holloway will fight at least by his choice twice in 2021.
Mm-hmm. And look, man, it's going to be fun to see what happens here. But moving on from the main events between 2, amazing contenders, moving down to the co-main, Carlos Condit and Matt Brown, dude. Those old guns, they still got it.
Put on a good fight, man.
Damn good fight. Surprisingly, the most surprising thing to me here is that Carlos Condit, a guy who's not acclaimed. In fact, the worst part of Carlos Condit in his legacy, in his entire career, I think you can make a case that he is a top 5 welterweight of all time. I mean, he had the WEC title, he had the UFC title. Should have beat Lawler for the undisputed belt. I know he was an interim champ, but whatever. He could have been arguably one of the greatest, like top 3 if he had any sort of takedown defense. And yet there he was at like 35 or 30. I have no idea how old Carlos Condit is. But you know what I mean? Older in his career. And he's learning takedown defense. He's out there taking down Matt Brown. Like, he won that fight based off his grappling. What did you think about that fight, man?
Dude, it was dope. I think that it was interesting. Holy fuck, I didn't know that was a strike differential until now. Didn't seem like it in the fight. We talked about how the card was gonna be on ABC, dude. What a good differential, right? Of the co-main being like these 2 guys, these 2 vets who show, for the most part, I thought, all aspects of MMA, right? Mm-hmm. And in its purity, and then followed that by Max and Calvin, who showed you what a super exciting, like high level war could be, and it wasn't a true war, right? Because one side was getting beat more than the other.
Yeah.
But how crazy it could get, right? And obviously realistically that's not a good thing, right? And we shouldn't enjoy it as much as we do, but because of we find it exciting, right? At the end of the day, it's not the best thing, right? We really shouldn't be enjoying a guy take as much damage as do, because it deteriorates their career. You leave part of your life, and they're Calvin Kattar just lost part of his career on that night. He will never be able to recover that. But it was just
I gotta bring on the show like that. Like, fuck.
No, but it's true though. It's true though, right? We got it's just a realistic thing. But either way, dude, it just embodied how good the sport can be, though. How exciting it can get. So I thought that was really good that they had a Condit and Matt Brown on there. And I was like, I remember the fight ending, and I was like, holy shit, that was a pretty good fight. And then the next fight happens,
Yeah, I mean, it was a hell of a fight, man. And overall, man, just props to Carlos Condit. Like I said, he really showcased a lot in that fight to kind of, and that's the thing about Condit, man. I mean, this is a guy that you could tell his heart was out of MMA after he got I mean, I think it's a robbery. I think it's insane that he did not win that belt against Lawler. I think that you'd still, I mean, all these years later, I've watched that fight dozens of times because it's an amazing fight, and I'm hard pressed to find 2 rounds instead of 3. But that being said, man, you could tell his heart was just out of the sport after that fight, and he went on a 5-fight losing streak, and he got finished in 3 of those, I want to say, and they were bad, man. I mean, he got choked out by Oliveira. Chiesa nearly broke his arm. Maia submitted him immediately. And to come back from that in the twilight of your career and find this new motivation, the dude looks in amazing shape. And he's had 2 amazing performances back to back. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes from here. I know he's a free agent now. And with the way the UFC's going, they just like cutting dudes like Condit for no real reason. So we'll see what happens. But amazing performance, man. Fun fight.
Yeah, I loved it. Who knows, man? It does kind of suck, though, that he's having this kind of a resurgence near the later years of his career, right? And not the earlier or, prime years.
Yeah, especially just because it sucks, because I think this is right around the time. I think this is a bad time because Dana's looking to get rid of everybody on the roster who does make a lot of money. So, and I get it, but it still sucks. But moving on, man, the Leech, Li Jianliang. Dude, all week, it was all about Santiago Ponzinibbio. And I told people, man, like, listen, the Leech may have lost to Neil Magny, but that dude still hits hard. Knockout. First round KO of Santiago Ponzinibbio, taking him from the ranks of, I guess, contendership, to put it lightly. I mean, it was his first loss in, I think, 9 fights. Insane fight, man. I mean, I know that was not a fight that we previewed in depth, but what did you think about that fight?
I've been listening to a lot of stuff regarding that, and a lot of people are, a lot of people want to genuinely believe it was ring rust, because he apparently, I can't remember it really well right now. Like the fight was in the evening, like afternoon, so it was. I was leaving work, so I had to like kind of MacGyver my way through watching it, so the whole fight card was I was kind of scuffed, but I was able to enjoy the last 2 fights, Condit and Max. But watching that one, obviously it ended in relatively quick, but I remember it starting off pretty slow and everything. And I remember DC talking about it later on, and he's like, I think Ponzinibbio had ring rust. It seemed like he just didn't pull on the trigger. It was kind of hesitant, and he's like, I think that was, grade 1 ring rust. And I hope it was that, man, because obviously that kind of loss can affect someone, especially after being gone so long. And because, if he would have won that fight, he would have been back where he left off, like nothing had changed. But apparently I read a headline, I think yesterday, that I didn't read it. I didn't read the actual thing, but the headline read, that he had a emotional, let some emotions out. Like the loss was really tough on him, which made sense, after being gone so long. And he looked good, as far as weighing in. He seemed like he was there, but obviously he just, I guess he just didn't show up to the dance.
Yeah, and that sucks for him. But overall, man, shout out Leech. That was an awesome knockout.
Oh yeah, good one for the Leech. We'll look at it from the other end. Broke into the rankings. Good for him. They have him at 12 right now. Who knows who they set him up with next, but should be exciting.
All right. And is there anything else on the undercard you want to talk about outside of that?
Dude, well, Josh, you talked about last week how they're setting up Joaquin Buckley. They just knock out these guys. I think it's more like they're setting up these guys to knock out Joaquin Buckley.
Oh, Jesus, man. Look, that sucks, man. I mean, full credit to Buckley.
Alessio Teixeira just knocked that one. That was brutal, dude.
He is kill or be killed in there. This dude has had 16 fights. 1 has gone to decision. That is,
it's beautiful, but it's not beautiful.
Oh man, especially because he's 26. You don't want to see him taking that. But shout out Alessio Teixeira, man. One of the biggest underdogs on the card. He's lost 3 in a row. I mean, he's looked. Yeah, he was gonna get cut. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He was gonna get cut. But damn, straight up, nice knockout win there, dude. He hit that perfect head kick as he was dipping. Oh, it was beautiful, man. Amazing shot by him. Shout out to Alessio Teixeira getting the win.
Dude, I watched once again. I was listening to something, and they were talking about how they think he's too small for middleweight, but then welterweight's not good enough for him either. And
yeah,
I was
that's true. He's a big guy physically, so it's going to be hard for him to make 170, but he's too small for 185.
Yeah. So he's a weird. They call him. I think they use the word tweener. Like he's just not in the right. They don't have like the ideal spot for him.
Yeah, that's true. But hey, man, I mean the rest of that card, it was something. The big boys, Carlos Felipe, Justin Tafa, that was a fun fight. You called that one.
Yeah, they came to bang.
They came to bang. But moving on from that card, we had the Rare Wednesday card.
I know, right?
And this one was something. I mean, you got a little bit there. You got a little something in the middle of the week to, make your week go by faster. In the main event, Mike Chiesa, man. We've been saying it for months and months. Everybody's sleeping on the boy.
Get this man a fight.
This absolute monster, okay? Michael the Maverick Chiesa.
I know, right?
I try to remember the nickname. Michael the Maverick Chiesa layeth the smack down on Neil Magny in the main event. 49-46 across all judges' scorecards. I'm not even sure where they found a round for Magny. Grappling dominance. In Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar, it was striking dominance. This is the grappling version of that. Magny couldn't get a single thing off. Chiesa was just dominating, getting the takedowns at will, sliding to mount, landing the ground and pound, nearly getting the submissions. Insane stuff from the Maverick. What did you think about the main event win?
Oh, dude, it was complete dominance on the ground. Dude, I'll give credit to Magny, though. He did have a good effort, dude. He wasn't in there just getting fucking ground and pounded and shit. I mean, he was trying to get at. Yeah, it wasn't Habib. He was trying. He did get out of some positions. He was able to move into some other spots, but he wasn't able to compete with Michael at all. He did some good stuff, but it wasn't enough. And his corner was extremely frustrated with the fact that he wasn't able to keep it off, the ground or clinch or any of that. Because in the exchanges, he looked pretty good on the hands. But even then, Michael Chiesa was still able to do enough to make it get back to the ground, make him think, he's okay. Oh, he's hitting me. I gotta focus on the hands. Oh wait, the takedown comes in. Even then, Chiesa was still doing enough on the feet to take him down.
Yeah, and man, full credit to Magny, like you said, for surviving. But dude, this is straight up dominance. And here's the part that I'm pumped about, man. He calls out. He gets on the mic. He got one thing to say, and he calls out Colby Covington, dude. That's a banger of a fight right there. I saw some people saying that.
I like that.
That's a bad matchup for Chiesa. I think that's a really good matchup for Chiesa, honestly.
I thought the same thing.
His cardio's looking better. He is huge. He's one of the few guys I think that would be able to go ahead and fight with the wrestling and the grappling against Colby and Usman. And also his striking looks improved. His gas tank looked really good. That's a damn good fight right there, man.
I'm a big fan of that.
Now, I don't know who I'd favor early, but that's awesome. It's an awesome fight.
Dude, I'll tell you this. Michael Chiasa's striking is much improved comparison to Colby's, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not previewing it, but I just, little thing to put out there.
I mean, that fight's not going to happen. Not yet, anyway. But
no, because we got Jorge versus Colby going to happen, I hope, probably.
Maybe.
Which is a good fight to make.
But, yeah, man, that was a good win by him. But in the co-main event, so we got fans right back, right? And there was something just beautiful because it was the Saturday card with Holloway, the first one, and hearing the Holloway chants, hearing the crowd get into it, and I was like, this feels right, you know what I mean? And the co-main event was the first time we heard the crowd get utterly shut down for the first time since COVID began because crowds they came back in, and obviously, the boy, he made a big impact. Moriel Lazez, co-main event. I believe he's from Abu Dhabi or he's from the Middle East, kind of that area. Made his name. I know there was some chants going on for him in the fight. Instantly shut the fuck up. Warley Alves, dude. This dude, brutal TKO. Landed amazing shots to the body. He landed 3 straight liver kicks. He went down.
Rough.
brutal stuff. Got the knockout win, and he moves to 14-4, and he's having an interesting career, man. He's a very up and down guy. Wins over Covington, Moraes, now Joban, and obviously Moriam Lazez. Also lost against Randy Brown, James Krause, Usman, Barberena. But what do you think about the co-man?
Hey, man, look, remember what I said last week? I'm like, this fight is to test him and see where he's at. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was like my exact quote. He got tested. He's not there yet. But he's still a guy with a lot of potential. I think he's really good. Worley Alves is a seasoned guy, very good. Got him with those body shots, dude, and that fucking brutalized him. Now kid can go back into the lab, figure some stuff out. And the guy has a following out there in Abu Dhabi. You saw how the love he was getting. Obviously, they got shut up real quick. But hey, man, that's just a game. And dude, 10-2 record. I mean, it's not like the guy lost his last 5 in a row or anything. There's no need to shut down on him. This was a high possibility going into this fight. Because if he wins this, it's kind of like, oh shit, he's the truth.
Yeah, I do think it's a bit surprising the way that he did lose. I mean, I would not have been surprised if Worley Alves won. I mean, I was really close to picking him, honestly, just because he's that guy that he rises to the level of competition that he's facing. Like if he's fighting Covington, he'll submit Covington. But if he's fighting Randy Brown, he'll just get fucked up for some reason. He fights down or up to the level of competition that he's facing. So I'm not surprised that he won. I am surprised that he knocked him out so quickly.
Oh yeah, it was pretty quick. It was pretty quick.
Came out guns ablaze, and shout out Worley Alvarez, man.
Dude, can I say though, the prelim was amazing in my opinion. I loved it. Did you watch any of the prelim, Josh?
I watched the entire card.
Dude, do you agree with me? The prelim was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we can just run a couple of them down. I mean, you want to take the lead on this?
I mean, dude, okay, well, I guess I'll just start from the bottom. So, Manon Fiorot, right? It's French. It's hard to pronounce. Okay.
Manon Fiorot. That.
Yeah, she is a badass. I'm already a fan. The level of potential is sky high right there, dude. I loved her. She was super fun to watch. Obviously Umar, dude, first round, he was getting tested a little bit, Josh. And you agree with me?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, Sergey Mazarov is a fucking legit dude.
Oh, he's a tough guy. He's a tough son of a bitch. I'll give him that. He's a good guy. I was a fan of him too in the fight. Like I found myself like enjoying him a lot too. But then Umar, the Nurmagomedov clan, rallied back though and pulled it out in the second round, and it was crazy how he adjusted. I was a big fan of that. My personal fight of the night though, Mike Davis, Mason Jones.
Mm-hmm.
These guys came out to bang. I loved it. What were your thoughts on that, Josh? We were talking a little bit about it before the show a little bit. We didn't get into too many details about the fight itself, but what did you think?
Yeah, let me just go ahead and really quick run down those other fights as well. Manon Fiorot, dude. I said it before that card that I was like, I'm not sure why Victoria Leonardo is in the UFC, and that's not even me trying to take a shot at her, but like her highlight in Invicta was getting knocked out by Erin Blanchfield, so I was like, that's a strange call right there. But that being said, huge knockout by her. She looked phenomenal, dude. I mean, I saw some highlights of her on the regional scene. She is legit. Flyweight kind of sucks, so I think she's going to be
really good
real soon. Umar Nurmagomedov, obviously cousin to Habib, dominant shit right there. Sergey looked really good the first round. Still though, those Nurmagomedov boys, they're built different, dude. They're built different. And then Mike Davis, Mason Jones. Banger of a fight right there, man. Mason Jones, Cage Warriors, 2-division champ. Mike Jones upsetting him, ruining the party. Very close fight. Obviously, Mason's kind of throwing a lot more. He was throwing more volume, but he was missing more. And Mike was kind of landing, I don't want to say the harder shots, but he was landing more shots at a higher accuracy. So it was definitely a coin flip fight to a degree. I didn't have a problem with Mike winning, though.
No, I didn't either. And I knew it was going to be close. Obviously, but dude, Mason's 25 years old.
Yeah.
The kid's super young. I was kind of sad to see. I know he has a judo background. I know he's very deep into that, and he's good on the ground too. I know he has some jiu-jitsu too. That's really good as well. So it's kind of sad not to see that. But I think he talked about it previously, and he's like, I really don't like doing any of that because it expunges a lot of energy. So. It kind of broke my heart because I would have loved to see those kind of aspects to come out of his name. But hey, man, he's 25 years old. He's going to turn 26 later this year. 10-1, first fight in the UFC was a banger. This is more of a learning experience more than anything. He fought a guy who's a little bit older than him, maybe has more years under his belt in certain things, and just kind of the way they view the game's a little different. But I'm sure he'll pull it together and kind of bring it all full circle eventually. I'm not worried about him. All I know is he's much to watch. Keep an eye on him. He's the future. We had two people on this card who I thought were the truth, and we'll see a lot more in the coming years.
Yeah, and look, man, I mean, the rest of the card was also bangers for days. I mean, obviously, Sue Matarajeri, whose name I'm always forever mess up and still never going to look up how to pronounce it, Zuruk Adeshev, we hyped him up a lot. That was a really good fight as well in flyweight. Ricky Simone coming back with a nice submission win. All right, Omari Akhmedov, who I said last week, I'm like, why did they got Omari Akhmedov like opening up the? This is a top 12 dude. He got a really nice win over Tom Breeze submission.
They gave up on him, man. After that Chris Weidman loss, they just gave up on him.
They did, which sucked because Chris Weidman's still, believe it or not, tough dude. Matt Schnell, Tyson Nam, banger of a fight right there. I thought Tyson Nam won, but I won't argue. Vivian Argero, unfortunately, beating friend of the podcast, Roxanne Modafferi. She'll be back, though. Roxy's a champ. She'll be there one day. It's all good, though. It's all good. And then, obviously, Isaac Villanueva getting a nice knockout winner. Vinicius Moreira making history. Vinicius Moreira did, the only fighter in UFC history to be finished in every single one of his UFC fights. 0-4 with 4 either submission or TKO losses. History right there, ladies and gentlemen. That may seem like I'm shitting on him. I'm not trying to shit on the guy.
No. It's just the fact, that there's no hate.
Yeah, that's just facts. But look, man, anything else you want to touch on this before we move on to the big fight card of the week?
No, man. I mean, we talked about all the people I wanted to talk about, and like I said, there's names on there now that I want to keep a close eye on for the coming years, and I'm super excited to see fight again, and hopefully multiple times within the calendar year.
Of course, and look, man, moving on, it's the big fight card. It's the big one. Conor, the Notorious McGregor, back, ladies and gentlemen. Pay-per-view. If you don't buy it on pay-per-view and you try to stream it, Dana White will show up outside your house.
Well, Josh.
We got it.
No, Josh.
Yeah.
We could just go to our local Buffalo Wild Wings.
I am going to go to my local Buffalo Wild Wings for sure, man. Because I don't want Dana White to murder me. He admitted on video to wiretapping. Either he's fucking around or he's telling the truth and breaking the law. So it's just really funny. Regardless.
He talked to Trump, dude, before he left office to get some shit.
Amazing main event here, dude. I don't feel like I did enough to introduce, but, dude, Conor McGregor's back. I don't need to do a big introduction for this one. Everybody and their mother knows this fight card is happening. Taking on Dustin Poirier, former interim lightweight champ. A guy, these two fought 6 years ago on the undercard. It sounds insane to say this out loud just because it's weird how much the tides have changed. But fighting on the undercard of Demetrius Johnson versus Chris Carriazo. And obviously they were both at featherweight at the time, and Conor, he was rising up. Dustin was the more accomplished guy. I mean, he'd already had wars against Cub Swanson, Holloway, and Chan Sung Jung at that point. Not really a war with Holloway, but you know what I mean. And Conor put him out clean. 1:46, left hand shot behind the ear. That was all she wrote. Here they are 6 years later. All of the wins and the accolades. I mean, Dustin Poirier is on one of the greatest runs, I think you could say, in a long time. I mean, obviously he did lose to Khabib, but excluding that loss to Khabib, wins over Jim Miller, Anthony Pettis, Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez, Max Holloway, and Dan Hooker, all on the resume. It's not even including earlier in his career when he had wins over Bobby Green, Joe Duffy, Yancy Medeiros, Diego Brandao, Eric Cook. I mean, you know what I mean. He's Dustin motherfucking Poirier. He's one of the greatest lightweight fighters of all time. And he's getting the rematch, taking on the biggest star the UFC has ever had and ever will have, and the notorious Conor McGregor, two-weight champion, coming back after his win over Donald Cerrone last year. He wanted the season. He didn't get the season because of COVID, and he's back trying to get the big win to get himself into that title conversation because this fight should have a title on the line, but for some reason Dana White will not stop harassing Khabib Nurmagomedov. That being said, Obviously, Conor fighting. I mean, he's looking to get his second win since 2016. It feels weird to say out loud, but this is only. I mean, he beat Cowboy. That was his first win in 4 years. Looking to get another one. We previewed it to death. Everybody's talked about it. All that's left is for the fight. Who do you got in the main event, and how?
Dude, man, it's so crazy that we're here, and it's so crazy we're talking about Conor fighting almost exactly a year later. I think it's already past a year now since he fought. It's so hard, man. It's so hard, but Conor's back, man, and I believe in motivated McGregor, and I think I'm gonna keep believing in motivated McGregor because both these guys are getting better. They're both different guys from when they were back then. For some reason, I have faith in Conor, dude. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. There's just something about Conor, or maybe it's just Conor as a person. For some reason, he makes you believe that, like, I got it, just pick me, kind of situation. But man, it's a tough fight, man. Either guy could win the fight, but I'm gonna pick Conor because I have to pick. We do our yearly picks.
Yeah, man, and I was really debating all week going in the other direction because I want to say, like, my heart is picking Poirier, man, and my mind's picking McGregor, but
right,
I just don't see because it makes all the sense in the world for Dustin to win just because he's been a more active guy. He's in the prime of his career. I mean, but I can't unsee Conor just doing what he's already done to him. I mean, he looks in a phenomenal shape. Obviously, they're doing the whole he's focused now and all that. I don't know if I buy that. Obviously,
the motivated McGregor, dude. I'm telling you.
Motivated McGregor, that's right.
Yeah.
He's all of a sudden caring about his career, and he just got sued again this week, so I don't know.
That was good.
Look, man, I got to go Conor too. I think it's probably going to be a knockout. I would not be surprised if Poirier won. Like I'm 50.
Oh yeah.
I'm almost 50 on it, but I got to go Conor, man. But
okay, before we move on to the next one.
Yeah, of course.
I need to ask you this too. Do you think, excluding Khabib, do you think the best lightweight, ranking wise on the planet right now is Dustin Poirier? And the reason I ask is because he has wins over Dan Hooker. He has wins over Justin Gaethje. He has the wins. Is he the best lightweight?
I mean, that's such a tough question to me because I feel like lightweight's one of the most interesting divisions because I don't know if. I mean, yeah. I think I'll say yeah because if Habib's retired,
I was thinking about this because I was like, he might actually be the best lightweight in the however you want to word it, right? It's kind of a weird thing to say because obviously we have other promotions and obviously Habib is still out there and he may or may not be retired. But it entered my mind because I was like, is Dustin Poirier actually the best lightweight right now in the world?
You know what, man? I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think he is not. I'm picking Conor to beat him, but like I'd pick Dustin against everybody else in the top 10. You know what I mean? Like I think Conor's just a bad matchup for him, and I wouldn't even pick Conor to beat everybody in the top 10.
Yeah,
I'd pick Dan Hooker to beat Conor. Like it's just.
Well, we'll have to see, right?
I mean, that could be next. We'll see, but. I mean, just looking at the top of 155. I mean, we got Justin. I mean, Justin has wins over all of the guys, and I don't care what Dana says. Habib's retired. I mean, he's not coming back. We didn't talk about that because there's no real point, and this should be for a title. But
yeah, it'll come. We'll find out. We'll find out on the day of. You know what I mean? I feel.
But I'd say Dustin's the greatest lightweight on the planet. I just think that Conor's a bad matchup for him.
Yeah, no. I was just curious about that because I was thinking, I was like, man, Conor's fighting probably the best guy right now that he could fight. And I saw, did you see my tweet did you see me tweet at a guy on Twitter regarding that?
Yeah.
You saw me call him an idiot? It's beautiful, wasn't it?
Absolutely beautiful. I mean, look, man, it's a tough discussion just because 155 is probably the best division in the UFC. And
also,
I could
Josh,
see, like,
before you continue, I like to say that guy deleted that tweet.
Oh, that's lovely. You love to see it.
I did a good job.
It's coming for necks out here. But look, man, I think Dustin's the greatest lightweight on the planet. I do think Conor beats him, though. And I know it's confusing to a lot of people that listen to this podcast. You aren't really big MMA fans. I'm not sure why you listen to us anyway, but whatever.
Whoa, Josh. Whoa.
No, I mean,
Nice
I love you
guy.
guys, but fuck. But anyways, so yeah, man, I think Dustin's the greatest lightweight in the plane. I'd pick him against everybody in the top 10 except for Conor. That's the thing. And hell, I might even pick him against Conor. Just I've seen Conor knock him out before and make it look effortless. So it's kind of hard to pick him. But, I mean, look, man, you ready to move on to the co-main, which is arguably,
Dude, I'm super excited for this one. I might be more excited for this one than the main event. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's so weird because I'm same page, dude. Dan the Hangman Hooker, one of the greatest lightweights on the planet, who I feel like never gets his due. I think it's probably just because his record's not very good. He's 20-9. But dude, he's one of the greatest lightweights on the planet. Arguably beat Dustin, beat Paul Felder, beat Ali Quinta, James Vick, Gilbert Burns, Jim Miller, Mark DeCasey, Ross Pearson, and a bunch of other dudes throughout his career. And he's been on a tear recently. I mean, 2 losses in his last 10 fights. Dudes look like a champion, hitting his prime, taking on the 3-time Bellator lightweight champion, former NCAA All-American, one of the greatest, fighters to never fight in the UFC, finally making the jump, Michael Chandler. Dude, what can you say about this dude? It's insane. I never thought we'd see Michael Chandler fight in the UFC. I thought he was one of those guys who was, Bellator made and Bellator bred,
No,
here he is, dude. And he's here, coming off of wins, like one loss in his last, I want to say 6 or 7 fights. That was the Patricio Freire, who is a 2-weight division champ in Bellator. Wins over Brent Primus, Benson Anderson twice, Brandon Gertz, Eddie Alvarez, David Rickles, a bunch of other dudes, and he's here, man. What do you got to say about this fight?
Let me tell you this. I think out of any fighter he could have fought in the top 5, this was the worst matchup, in my opinion. And that's perfectly fine, because that's what needs to happen, right? He wants a tough fight. He wants to fight the best. This is what needs to happen. This is the correct fight. I think Dan Hooker was the worst matchup he could have got. I think Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor would have been an even better matchup for him, right? just cause. But for some reason, Dan Hooker, in my opinion, was the worst possible matchup out of all the guys. I'm gonna tell you this, dude. Those city kickboxing guys are amazing. The talent they produce is beyond me. Obviously, they have 2 champs right now. Kai Kara France wasn't very far from being in one of those positions himself, and obviously Dan Hooker right up there. The talent that's being produced out there is insane. I've gone back and forth on this one a lot, man. This is the classic matchup of the wrestler versus a striker, and for some reason, my gut is telling me to pick Michael Chandler, and I'm going to pick Michael Chandler, Josh. I have faith in this guy. For some reason, I think he's going to show up to today. He's going to do everything right. I think if Dan Hooker wanted to, he could fight this smart and just keep his distance, go in and out, do that. But for some reason, I don't think Dan Hooker is that kind of guy. Dan Hooker is not going to fight like that. I don't think Dan Hooker is going to do that. And if Dan Hooker did do that, he'd find success in this fight and win it, in my opinion. But for some reason, I don't think Dan Hooker is going to, go in and out, change the angle, switch, step to the side, feint, get in and out, make it boring. I don't think he's going to do that. And he's not really, in comparison to defense, compared to Volk and Izzy, which is strange because they all, work out of the same place. He's not as defensively minded as those two. So I think that will probably be his downfall in this fight, for not wanting to fight what would be the intelligent fight against Michael Chandler. And Michael Chandler's just going to have to bring it every single time, round after round, for that takedown relentlessly if he has to win here. And I'm also, because that's the other way. If he can't do that, he doesn't beat Dan Hooker. And I know that's a game plan he has to follow that was so specific. And I'm putting this all out here just to say how vulnerable my pick could be. He swings that overhand so wide, man, and leaves his chin so vulnerable. And obviously with Dan Hooker and his precision, he can find that. He can hit that and put Michael out. And Michael Chandler's chin isn't made of steel. It's been tested before. But I'm confident for some reason with this Michael Chandler pick. For some reason, I think he'll pull through.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I'm like on the complete opposite side of the spectrum.
You're kind of quiet, by the way, Josh.
Yeah, I think it's because I moved away. Yeah, it's because I'm on the very opposite end of the spectrum, honestly. I mean, look.
You sound really like you're really far away for some reason.
Fuck, I'm getting really tired of this shit. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, that's so fucking annoying. Yeah, so I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum, to be honest with you. Looking at this fight, I literally can't unsee Dan Hooker winning. I think he's by far the worst matchup, like he said, for Chandler in the top 10. I mean, here's the thing. Whenever they talked about him fighting Tony, I was like, that's a damn good matchup for, Chandler. Yeah, it's him fighting Habib. I think I've always said he's one of the best matchups possible for Habib, which is weird. I mean, one of the worst matchups. Amazing wrestler, great counter wrestler, huge right hand. That's the thing that's interesting to me about this man is because Chandler, you mentioned as a wrestler versus striker, and that's true. But Chandler also has amazing power. He's got that one hitter quitter power, dude. That's the type of guy that Michael Chandler is. But at the same time, dude, I literally can't unsee him diving in for a takedown and Dan Hooker hitting him with a knee and just putting him out cold. I just can't unsee it. I'm gonna pick Dan Hooker probably be a knockout. I got a lot of. It's weird, right? Because I got a lot of confidence in Dan Hooker, and Michael Chandler's a guy that I said for a long time that I could see crossing over into the UFC and winning a title, and I would have him even money with everybody in the top 10, top 5. But just I think Dan Hooker's a really bad matchup, so I'm gonna go take the Hangman, dude. But I guess moving on, I mean, we're gonna go rapid fire because this main card kind of sucks. It kind of stinks to be. I'm more excited for the undercard, to be honest with you. But I mean, we could go ahead and just go rapid fire on these. Jessica I, Joanne Calderwood. Who you got?
Yeah, JoJo.
Same here. Got JoJo Calderwood. Jessica I has been on a bad losing streak. She made weight, which is good. That's progress. Still taking JoJo. Marina Rodriguez, Amanda Hebos. This one's actually got some heat on it. I like this fight a lot, but who you got?
Got Hebos, no doubt.
Got Hebos here. She's a 3-1 favorite, mainly because people find her cute and she does the fucking laugh. I've not seen anything out of her that suggests that she should be a 3-1 favorite. Marina Rodriguez is.
I know they do have her. They do have her pretty strongly favored, but I have faith in her though.
And Marina Rodriguez is really, really good. She's 12-0-2. Her one loss to Esparza, and that was a split decision. I'm gonna take Hebos, but I think the only reason she's a 3-1 favorite, that is, if you're a betting man out there. Hebos. I mean, it's not Hebos. Excuse me. Rodriguez at 3-1 odds. That's a nice.
Would you bet half your house?
I'd bet. I'd go a third, but half is acceptable. Andrew Sanchez, Mahmoud Muradov.
What the fuck is this matchup, Josh?
It's a strange fight to have opening up the card. I get why they do, because it's probably gonna be a knockout in this one. Andrew Sanchez looked phenomenal last time out. So I'm gonna take him, but I mean, who do you got? I mean,
dude,
it's a weird fight.
Muradov, that's hard to pronounce.
You're gonna take Muradov.
Muradov, yeah.
6.
Yeah, dude, he got a KO last time around. He beat the brakes out Trevor Smith, and then he beat Alessio, our boy who just knocked the fuck out of Joaquin Buckley. Dude, the guy's huge.
I'm still gonna take Andrew Sanchez. El Dirte. I'm gonna take him. The power of the mullet. Dude, Loki, I never got a chance to talk about this guy, like low-level UFC fighters. And Andrew said it's not super low-level, but this dude came into the UFC, is arguably one of the worst fighters I've seen to ever win the Ultimate Fighter. He won it at 7-2, and he beat Khalil Roundtree. He had literally no striking. The worst striking I'd ever seen as a UFC fighter for a long time. And now he's putting it together. Got a knockout win last time out. He had a really close fight with Vittori. 3 of his last 4. I'm taking El Dirte once again, man. Shout out to Andrew Sanchez, but let's talk about the undercard, man. There's a lot here, but what is the most interesting stuff to you?
Dude, it was actually a fight that kind of got put together. Is the lightweight battle between Arman, I can't even say the last name.
Saliukian.
Yeah,
hockey champion.
And Matt Frivola. Originally, both these men had different opponents. I think it was Otman Azaitar, or am I wrong?
Yeah, now cut from the UFC, Otman Azaitar.
Yeah, he just got cut. And then Nazarat didn't show up to the weigh-in.
Yeah, he got sick.
Okay, he got sick. Okay, I never got the news on it because I was watching
COVID related, but he was sick.
Okay, and then Arman missed weight, dude. By what is it, half a pound or 3 pounds?
Wait, did he? Oh, did he miss weight? I didn't know he missed weight.
I believe he did miss weight. Yes.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, So he will be getting a massive cut of money, and on top of that, he has to fight a different opponent he didn't even prepare for.
Damn, that sucks. But that's an awesome fight. He's also, favorite fact, Arman Sarukian, 24, huge prospect, 15-2, former. I believe he was one of the best hockey players in the country of Georgia. So shout out him. Decided to go into MMA. Said he might one day go into the NHL as well. So that's shout out him for that. But he did miss weight. That sucks. It's gonna be an awesome fight though. Rest of the card: Brad Tavares and Antonio Carlos Jr. is gonna be a banger, I think.
Matchmaking.
Juliana Pena, Sarah McMahon. That should be an interesting grappling matchup. But I don't know. Pena's had a weird. I mean, I was really high on her a while ago, but she's kind of had a weird past since she had her baby and she was gone for 2.5 years. I mean, she arguably lost to Nico Montano, and then she was beating Jermaine Durandamy, and then she got choked out cold by a person who barely knows jiu-jitsu. That's a joke. Jermaine has underrated jiu-jitsu, but still, she's a kickboxer. And then Khalil Roundtree Jr., Bangkok Roundtree, taking on Marcin Prachnio. It's an awesome fight.
He missed weight too by half a pound, but got 2 hours to face it.
He made it.
Yeah, but he made it. Yeah. I mean, it's half a pound, Josh. Come on, he can.
Yeah, I mean, that's just taking a shit right there.
He's in desperate need of a win, though.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, he said this might be his last fight. I saw that he was thinking about retiring, but I'm not sure if he's still standpoint on that. And he's hard and firm on that. I'm not sure what he's thinking about that.
We'll see what happens, but yeah, hopefully he can get a big W here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun fight. And then also, Nick Lentz, the People's Champ, Nick Lentz taking on Mazar Avoliev.
I don't know. That's pretty good, Josh. That was pretty fucking good.
I'll go with that. And then Amir Albazi taking on Zaga Zulumov or something. I don't know. For the record, I worked a 10-hour day, so I'm tired and I don't have time to pronounce these dudes in the flyweight division. It's some of these undercard dudes that have really hard to pronounce names. But that being said, it's gonna be an awesome fight card. I'm really hyped for it. So yeah, man, make sure to buy it. You guys gotta buy it. Mainly because Dana White will come fuck you up if you don't.
Or go to your local Buffalo Wild Wings.
I'm doing. I'm going to my local Buffalo Wild Wings. But
I love it.
Yeah, man. Normally, I feel we talk about the NBA here. I mean, we can still do it. Is there anything you want to talk about from the world of the NBA?
Dude,
on the championship weekend.
Every time Kyrie's played with the new Nets team, or even when ever since James Harden arrived at Brooklyn, trade Kyrie has probably trended every night the Brooklyn Nets have played since then.
Really? Well, I saw they lost because the greatest player of all time, Colin Sexton, put it on him. So,
dude, I fucking love Colin Sexton. I loved Colin Sexton back in college too, dude. When he first got into NBA, I was a little worried. He wasn't doing very well, but seeing him come to fruition in these coming years, or seeing him flourish, I mean, has been the greatest feeling on earth. Because I'm like, fuck yeah, I like that guy. They called him Young Bull back in high school. Young Bull has come to reality because he plays bigger than what he is. Because he might not even be 6'2", honestly. He's probably 6 foot, And but honestly, I love the guy, and the fact that they won that game with him having a fucking ridiculous performance is amazing. And they got a small guard lineup. Both their guards are below 6'3". So I was very happy to see that. His teammate Darius Garland have the greatest duo name, Sexland. I love it. Yeah, Josh. Just to trade Kyrie. Honestly, Josh, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think just KD and James Harden would be more enjoyable than Kyrie, James Harden, and KD for me at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you, because those guys played really well together. But at the same time, Kyrie and KD played really well together. But for some reason, I feel like James could be less selfish playing with just KD rather than Kyrie playing with just KD. Can you maybe agree with me on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd actually agree with that, because that's one of the things I was worried about whenever they traded for James Harden. I was like, look, man, this could be too much of a good thing. In this situation, I would much rather have Harden and KD than Kyrie and KD. And I just don't think the three of them gel well enough for it to work.
Yeah.
There's too many hands to feed.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. My one thing was KD has nowhere to go. I literally don't know who would want, or not KD. I don't know who would literally want Kyrie
We'll
at this
take him.
point. Who? The Thunder?
We'll take him. He can be tank commander.
True, but
Actually, no, we'll probably win too many fucking games. Jesus.
no, true. But I don't even think Kyrie would want to do that though.
No,
You know what I
and
mean?
that's the problem. Is I don't know where
He wants to be in a winning situation, I believe. But the issue is there is no true home for him. The Sixers don't want him. The Celtics don't need him. The Bucks don't need him. Well, actually, that wouldn't be a terrible place.
And what team would take him? Because he's never there.
Yeah, and what team would take him? That's the other
injured or
issue.
he's bailing on the team.
Yeah, that's the issue, and no one wants to do it because of that. And the reason, and the Brooklyn fit didn't seem bad because he's playing with his friend, and you think he wouldn't be an asshole to his friends, but he is being an asshole
immediately.
Yeah, that's the issue.
And look, man, and I really don't like shitting on Kyrie because Kyrie seems like a really good dude. Outside of basketball, I don't think he's the smartest guy, but his heart's in the right place. You know what I mean? He seems like a good dude. Like, we hear about stuff that he does outside of basketball. He bought George Floyd's family a house. Stuff like that. He's done a lot of stuff for charity. I know he's done like the NBA.
He donated a lot of money. He's done a lot of things.
He's done a lot of things. But hearing him say, like, yeah, man, he told that he did like a press conference. He told us like he came over. He's like, yeah, man, I just needed a break. And I'm like, dude, the season began a week ago. Like, it's just, I'm like, dude, could you imagine if I just started my job and like I after 1 week I'm like, man, I need a break. Like, I get away from this. Like, it's just.
Well, dude, it's not even just that, dude. You miss, and he's blessed because he's a professional athlete, right? Dude, if any other human being does this shit at their regular job, dude, you lose your fucking job. You know what I mean?
And I think, he might lose his here. I don't know if they're still looking to trade him, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and it honestly wouldn't seem that bad. And they could probably get some decent, pieces to surround Harden and KD. Like, I wouldn't even be opposed to it, to be honest with you. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm like, shit, that's one less personality to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also I'm not sure who would take him. That's the issue. Because
that's the boiling issue. Who would take him? Dude, imagine if the Clippers somehow managed to sneak him in. I don't think that
would be
team
an
would
awesome
work.
team for 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks,
Until
yeah.
Kyrie either left or Paul George or Kawhi got hurt.
Yeah. All those guys get fucking hurt.
I really wish they would be a better team because I think that Nets team is really fun to watch.
It could be a
whenever all three
force.
are clicking. But the issue is very rarely are all three clicking.
Yeah. And honestly, the Cavs lost. They didn't give them a lot of people didn't give them shit because Colin Sexton didn't have them scored the last 20 points in overtime. Did you know that, Josh?
I did not know that.
Colin Sexton in the double overtime scored the last 20 points. No one else scored the ball besides Colin Sexton in that time. Colin Sexton, who's listed at like 6'2", probably like 6'1.5", probably 6'1" realistically, scored the last 20 points against a Brooklyn Nets team with Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. Yes, you heard that right.
That's insane. That's like one of those stats that doesn't seem real.
But it happened.
No, I know it. I know what happened, but you know what I mean.
So I have some other news that happened. So did you hear about what happened in the Cavs locker room?
Somebody threw food because their locker got replaced. I don't remember who it was. They just got traded.
Yeah, it was a second-year player, a lottery pick, Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah,
guy with a lot of potential. He straight up just got traded to the Rockets.
Nice.
So the Rockets literally just got a fucking steal for free. They got a lottery pick of a guy who had a lot of potential. He was picked in the first round. He was the 30th overall pick, so he was the last pick of the lottery round, right? 35th?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, which honestly isn't bad for the Cavs because they didn't really need him in the direction they were going. So I don't think this is actually a bad thing. But it sucks that the shit that occurred led to that. But now he ended up at Houston, and this is his second year, right? Like he got drafted last year, and this is his following year.
Yeah.
He was averaging 10 points. He played 50 games, only started 3 on 23 minutes. Granted, not great. 50% from the field, 70% from the free throw line, and like 33% from 3, which isn't great, but that's on very little stuff, and they didn't really give him a lot of time to play. Now he's with this Houston team where I think he'll get a lot of playing time. They're gonna lose a fuck ton of games, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe they'll find some success, but I think that actually worked out for him. So I just wanted to talk about that and kind of how the Cavs just kind of got rid of them. So the Rockets just continue to steal these picks, man.
Shout out the Rockets, dude.
Shout out to the Rockets, and then quick little talk through the Warriors. I guess Steph is doing it, man.
Dragging the corpse of that team.
Somehow, some way, they beat the Lakers a few nights ago. Crazy. I'm so impressed. I'm so surprised. Some fucking how, man, they're doing it. I don't know how. I don't know how long they'll sustain. I don't know if they'll pull it back. Other news that I want to talk about. CJ McCollum went down, Josh. They lost Yusuf Nurkic. I don't know if we talked about that last week, but they did. Yusuf Nurkic to be out for a while. He has to have surgery on his wrist, I think. And CJ McCollum down with I think something what happened with his ankle. I think he broke his ankle. So he's going to be out for 4 weeks. Fracture, something. I don't know. He fractured his ankle. I don't know. The Trailblazers are sitting at 5th right now. I don't know how long that's going to last without CJ, but they just lost the game.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough. They are not playing tonight. They play not tomorrow. I don't know when their next game is, but the thing is, they play in 2 days. I just saw it. Yeah, man, that sucks. I just want that's just kind of some overall news I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you did a better job covering it than I do. Normally, I'm kind of like the big idea guy when it comes to like making like the little list and shit. I literally was not going to name any of that. So shout out to you, man.
You are very welcome.
You're more in touch with the NBA right now than I am. It's just hard for me to care about the NBA in the regular season. And especially because everything's kind of getting messed up by COVID and games are getting postponed and everything. That being said, I have been following the Nets situation very closely. So as far as that goes, it's been a fun year so far. But I'm, like I said, more in touch when it comes to playoff time. That being said, speaking of playoffs, it's championship weekend, my guy. It is championship weekend in the NFL. And man, oh man, actually going to my local Buffalo Wild Wings for this one. Obviously, you guys all know the story. Chiefs playing Browns. Chiefs dominating. Patrick Mahomes gets concussed or a nerve thing. It depends on who you ask.
Who the fuck knows?
Chad Henne, Chad Henne coming in.
The Henne God.
The Henne God. Anything is possible. Ends up beating the Browns on one of the most insane. Andy Reid, it must be hard for him to walk around. For a long time, I always thought he's just a fat guy. Apparently, half his weight is in his balls. On 3rd and 14, he decides to have Chad Henne run for the first down. Ends up being short by half a yard. They're short by 3 inches. Okay. And all he needs is 3 inches, and he decides to have Chad Henne, backup quarterback, in shotgun next to the 3rd-string running back, and Darrell Williams, because Le'Veon Bell and Clyde Edwards-Helaire are out. And he decides to throw a pass for the first down. Insane. Yeah. What was your reaction, man? I know that you sent me a text proclaiming before the play even happened that Chad Henne was going to lead us to victory.
It was, dude. I had faith, man. Sadly, Chad Henne couldn't grow a 3-inch erection to get that first down. But it wasn't the play, I heard. But hey, man, it doesn't fucking matter. The play didn't happen as it was meant to be. But, dude, I called that shit. I'm like, Josh, you can't lose faith. But, God, was that shit fucking scary for a little bit, man.
Well, dude, I mean, so I was fully prepared for us to lose. I remember a couple of years ago, I had, like, a video that I made. It was like something stupid I uploaded to my Snapchat. It was like the Titans. It was the way the Chiefs lost the Titans.
By the way, I love all those videos, Josh. You have all those jerseys on deck.
Oh, yeah, dude. Dude, straight up. So, for you guys that don't know, if you guys aren't friends with me personally, if you're actually just a fan of the podcast, on my Snapchat, like, years ago, I had a video of me, like, wearing a Chiefs jersey and having me, like, react to the Chiefs losing at the end of the game versus the Titans. I rip it off, and there's a Titans jersey underneath. Do the same thing this year. Chiefs choking against the Browns. I was like, let's go Browns, baby. I got the Browns jersey. This time, it did not end up happening. I called it too soon. Chad Henne ends up leading us to victory, and now we're facing off against the Buffalo Bills. Patrick Mahomes is back. We all know that concussions heal faster in the playoffs, so it's amazing. It's amazing. It's a marvel. It's a miracle. But yeah, he's back.
They could actually reconstruct brain cells right now. The NFL actually has the science down already.
It's ridiculous. But listen, man, I don't know if he was actually concussed. Apparently, the only reason he was in concussion protocol was as a what is it? What's the word? I feel so stupid right now. Like a precaution, because he did come up wobbly. Apparently, he was only in concussion protocol because I guess they ask him for concussion protocol. They take a look at you. They look at your pupils. They take a look at your head. All that normal shit. Walk on a line. The whole thing. I'm sure it's like a DUI, but you know what I mean. So they asked him 10 questions and he failed one of them. That was the only. It was like a game-related question. He failed, and that's why he was in concussion protocol. I'm not sure if he had a concussion. I heard that it was something like there was a nerve issue. I heard that he got knocked down but didn't have a concussion. I heard he got choked out because he was dragged on the play. It was like a blood choke or something. I don't think anybody knows what the fuck happened to Patrick Mahomes, but all I know is man's cleared for Sunday. I'm going to B-dubs, and I'm going to watch the Chiefs get that dub back-to-back, baby. You know the prediction. You know what it is. I'm taking the Chiefs, man.
And I should go over for that game, Josh. Now you got me all hyped up.
Dude, I'm hyped too. I'm so hyped, dude. It's championship weekend, my guy.
How do you feel about the matchup, though? I want to talk about that now.
How I feel about the matchup? I think, I was 50-50 on if the Chiefs are going to win regardless of Mahomes being there, just because I think you give Andy Reid a week to game plan with Chad Henne or with Patrick Mahomes. I think they're going to win regardless, just because Buffalo's biggest weakness is their run defense. And we didn't see the Ravens exploit that, partially because Lamar Jackson also got injured, which is something we've not talked about. He got injured in their game.
Yeah.
And so he was out, and that's partially why the Ravens ended up losing. So they couldn't really get the run attack going. But I think the Chiefs, they're getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire back. I think they were going to do enough. They had enough tricks in the bag. They had enough gimmick plays to get off a win. So I was going to take them regardless. So I think the Chiefs match up excellently regardless.
Now, when you talk about the other game that happened that same day, you were wrong,
man.
Josh.
Man, I was wrong. In the words of Aaron Rodgers, what happens in the regular season does not matter. I mean, I didn't say that exactly, but you know what I mean. So he was on Pat McAfee's show, and they asked him that same question because obviously I was wrong with the Saints beating the Bucs because I was like, Saints beat Bucs twice in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I was very wrong. I forgot how badly Drew Brees has been since his injury. I mean, he didn't look good all year necessarily, but he started to get into a rhythm before he had all those injuries near the end. And then he looked the worst quarterback I've seen in my entire life was not Nate Peterman. It was not some random Browns quarterback. It was not, insert bad quarterback's name here. It was Peyton Manning in 2015. The Broncos won the Super Bowl that year, but the dude couldn't throw a pass longer than 15 yards. It was all in the defense. The second worst quarterback I've probably seen is Nate Peterman. Third worst was Drew Brees on Sunday. He had no force behind his passes. You could tell he knew what to do, but his body couldn't react. And that sucked, and apparently he's going to retire. And I'm glad he's not coming back for another year because I don't want to remember him like that, just because it only get worse. But man, shout out Tom Brady. They keep on doing the damn thing. Now they're facing off in Green Bay.
It's crazy,
impressive
man.
stuff.
How do you feel about that matchup, the Green Bay Tampa matchup?
I feel very similar to this one about how I felt last week with the Ravens and the not Ravens and Titans, Ravens and Bills. That one I also got wrong. I cannot stop jinxing.
Granted though, Lamar Jackson did get hurt.
Lamar Jackson did get injured. I'm gonna hold that as the reason why. But that being said, man, I don't know who to pick for this one. I think I'm gonna go Packers. It's just hard for me to see. Antonio Brown is out, by the way. He's out for that game. So I'm gonna go ahead and he hurt his leg in the second half of the game last week. I don't know what exactly it is, but he'll be back.
But for most of the season though, they didn't really have Antonio Brown either,
No, they did not. But he started getting into the groove near the end.
Yeah, he was getting the ball more, wasn't he?
Yeah, they were forcing it to him. Him and Brady aren't on the same wavelength, but man, it's hard for me to see Aaron Rodgers. He's been on a he's just been on warpath all year long. I don't think it'll matter when he meets the Chiefs in the playoffs, but I think it's good enough to beat the Bucs this week.
Okay, so, Josh. Now let's say hypothetically, let's now obviously since I know we're showing a lot of favoritism here, but it's just hey man,
the guys from Kansas City are showing favoritism. Say
I know, right?
Turn the picture around.
Holy shit, right? But yeah, let's say the Chiefs. So if the Chiefs match up, so as far as them matching up with Tampa Bay and then matching up with Green Bay, wow, both Bays. I fucking hate that. Can you
disgusting?
Can you tell me how you feel about each matchup individually, and then also the reversal with the Bills?
I would much rather put it like this. I would much rather play the Bucks than the Packers. I think also it helps because I know how the Chiefs will play the Bucks. We kicked the shit out of them earlier this year. I feel like a lot of people that haven't watched the Chiefs games to see people say like the Chiefs keep on barely winning games, and like that's true to an extent. Because obviously at the end of the game it's like, oh, Chiefs only won by 7, Chiefs only won by 6, Chiefs only won by 10. If you watch that Bucks game, Chiefs were up by like 24 points going into the fourth quarter, and they played, cover 2, and they just let him go off. Like that's kind of what they did. So I know how the Chiefs would play the Bucks. I don't think it would be surprising to see us win. I'd pick them that. I'd pick us 10 times out of 10. Packers right now, they're an interesting story. They have a very good running back in Aaron Jones. They have a great all-time QB in Aaron Rodgers. For my money, I think Aaron Rodgers physically is the best quarterback to ever play the game. As far as that goes. But I don't know, man. I'd still pick the Chiefs, but I think it'd be a closer matchup. On the opposite side of things, who would I like to see the Bills play? I think the Bills... Here's the weird part. I think that the AFC is much better than the NFC. I would take both NFC teams to beat the Bills. I'm not very impressed by the Bills' postseason run so far, which sucks because I was a huge fan of them in the regular season. But barely beating the Colts when the Colts were playing like garbage, and the Colts lost that game themselves due to poor decision making. And then, beating the Ravens without Lamar Jackson, it just has not been very impressive to me so far.
Alrighty. I like it, Josh. I like it. I love the breakdown, by the way.
Love the breakdown. But yeah, man, championship weekend, it's going to be a fun time. It'll be very, very fun. Can't wait. If the Chiefs win, I'm a pretty straight edge guy. I'll probably be drinking. I'll probably be happy, man. But if the Chiefs lose, I'll probably be drinking, but for other reasons. Moving on to boxing. Last topic of the show, Jake Paul. Future world champion Jake Paul announcing his comeback. April 23rd? Maybe
something like that.
His brother's fight just got postponed, but he'll be back.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, that just got announced. It was Logan's coach put up a post and then immediately took it down, saying the fight was postponed, which makes sense because it's supposed to be in 2 weeks.
Why did it get postponed, Josh? Do you know?
No,
the weight
clue.
cut. Probably the weight cut, dude. They probably made him cut weight.
According to Logan, Floyd was fat. No,
yeah,
that's what Connor said. Connor called him fat. I thought it was funny. Anyway, so that's a completely different subject. Doesn't matter now.
I still want to talk about it, though, because the Paul brothers are still in the news, though.
Oh, they're always in the news. Anyway, so Jake Paul is going to be fighting in April. You specifically wanted to bring up the subject mainly because you think who it could be. They haven't announced an opponent. We know it's going to be on Triller. We know it's going to be on pay-per-view. They haven't announced the opponent yet. Who do you think it's going to be?
Dude, I'm still between Ben Askren or Dylan Dallas.
Oh, yeah. I think it has to be, right?
I think it has to be one of those guys regardless. I think it's going to be one of theirs too. I think Ben Askren's a better matchup, right? We saw Ben Askren's spinning back against Damian White. Holy fuck.
It's weird because I would actually pick Danis, but I would not feel good picking Ben Askren in that fight. But I think you're right. I think it has to be one of those two.
Oh yeah, regardless. The big talk has been, and I don't know if I mentioned it last time. It was like, if he gets to Dylan, right? He fights Ben, then Dylan's like, all right, let me teach you what I can do, motherfucker. It's kind of like Dylan's a gateway to Conor, right? Because he is really hunting for that Conor fight. I don't think he thinks. I think 100% he doesn't think he wins that himself, but I think it's all about the money, man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The amount of money he'll make from that. First of all, dude, I can't imagine how much money that will make for both those guys. You know what I mean?
So much money. It's never going to happen, but so much money.
I mean, I disagree with you on that because I think it just depends on the money, dude. Because it's just like for Conor, just be like an easy payday, dude. 50 million. Let's just say 50 million because that's the number that's been thrown out. I think it'd be way more, personally, which is crazy to think. It's like, why wouldn't you do it for that? Because if I'm Conor, I'm like, fuck, dude, time to kick some ass real quick. You know what I mean? It's like, why wouldn't you do it? For me, it makes no sense for Conor not, like, why wouldn't he do it? It doesn't make sense why he wouldn't do it, The money's there, He's a money man, right?
Yeah, I guess, but the threat of losing to the YouTuber is too big.
The threat of losing to YouTubers is too big, but do you really think Conor loses to the YouTuber?
Not in a million years. I think if they fought 100 million times, Conor was blindfolded, had one arm and one leg, I'd still pick him to win.
Exactly. So there's no
But that
threat.
doesn't matter because that's not like even trying to realistically portray that Jake has a chance would devalue Conor in a way.
Yeah.
Also, but Dana would never allow it. That's part of the reason why.
That's the other issue, but I'm telling you, it's all about the money, man. If the
No,
money's
I
there,
agree.
that's the
Conor
only
can get
issue.
more fighting Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, which is something else we got to talk
Something
about.
we're gonna get into right now.
But let me finish up.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Did they say how long the Logan fight was postponed? Because that was
No, they
weeks
didn't.
away. Oh, fuck, that sucks. Okay, I'm gonna have to read up on that later. But now we talk about Conor. So Conor's actually like publicly teased the idea of boxing again. Let's say it is Manny Pacquiao.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it does happen. How do you feel about it, Josh? First of all,
I think that there's a more likely chance of Manny literally killing him in the ring than Conor winning the fight.
really, you know, I think out of all the guys he could box and could maybe win or beat, and it's not because I think he'll beat him because I don't. I think Manny's one of the better guys. Who's a champion?
I mean, no shit. I mean, if you look at the other guys around there, I mean, he'd have a huge size advantage. Manny's been through a lot of wars. I see why Conor would want the fight. I still think he'd get massacred.
And then there's a lot, and then the money, because you know Manny brings in a lot of different markets, dude.
Yeah.
The Hispanic community loves him. Obviously, the whole Filipino country, and then just the general box community is gonna watch because they want to see Manny beat the fuck out of the MMA guy. Once again, I think the money would be there, and it could be a possibility. Does it happen? Who knows? But apparently, because there's been talks for this for a long, long time now, Josh. This isn't just something that started a couple months ago, a year ago. This has been going on since pretty much right after the Floyd fight.
Yeah, true.
You know, I don't know, man. It's interesting. I just wanted to put it out there. It's an interesting thing to talk about, and the talk is that it could even maybe happen within this year.
Yeah, and I don't know how much. Well, the thing is that they have the same coach, not same coach. Oh my god, same manager.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's part of it because like the same manager's like, yeah, I mean, we could get these two dudes together. It'd be really really easy. And I think even Dana would probably want to do it because that's even more money for him too. Like, but at the same time, man, that's part of like I really don't want to see it happen just because I'd much rather see Conor fighting in MMA. I know it's a selfish thing just because he would make so much more money otherwise. But I mean, that's just my opinion on it.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. But hey, man, it could happen, and I don't think that's the worst like possible opponent he could realistically have. I think he has a decent chance to. I think he wins it. Not very likely. But if it did, hey man, holy shit, that's a title in boxing.
Yeah, that'd be something. I think that's the more interesting storyline than the Floyd fight. That there's actually something for stake here.
Oh yeah, and then we've had the conversation of like, Josh, you know, one day will there be a guy who has a title in boxing and then a title in the UFC?
This is the first opportunity.
It'd be the first opportunity. So that's why I really wanted to talk about it because I've always been such a fan of the idea. You know, I'd love to see it happen. Does it happen? Who knows? But it's something that I flirt with a lot, and I think will happen one day. But you know, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. That much is for sure with everything in boxing right now. But look, man, is there anything else you want to say before we dip out of here?
No, man, we had a long one today, and I think we did a great job, and obviously with Conor fighting and it being fight week, and dude, and just the great main and co-main event. I'm really just excited to come back next week and talk about it all again, dude. Especially since I'm kind of getting together with my, part of our friend group, I should say, Josh. I'm not gonna say with my friend group because you are also part of that. And we're gonna watch the fight and get together, have a good time, and hopefully be responsible.
At the local Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm sure.
Actually, no. We're going over a friend's house, and we're gonna pitch in money together to buy the card, and that's kind of what we're gonna do.
Oh, okay. Okay, so not the local Buffalo Wild Wings, but still
no.
doing what you got to
Sadly,
do so Dana White won't show up outside. I see. I follow you.
Yeah. Giving the man money.
Giving the man the money, but. Look, man, one last thing before we get out of here, something funny I wanted to bring up. So I gave my mini hockey preview at the end of last week's podcast. And not only was I wrong about the vast majority of what I said, I mixed up. Like I read a story that Patrick Kane was going bankrupt. Apparently, it's Evander Kane. So I want to correct that. Still fucking Kane. I don't have anything against him personally. He just beat up with the Blues for a couple of years, but it's fine now because the Blackhawks suck, so it's all good. There's rumors he might be traded, so if you all want to send him down to St. Louis, that's good with me. But anyway, so I spent the last probably 5 or 10 minutes shitting on NBC Sports Network. Just today, they must have saw that. They were like, oh damn, Josh doesn't like it. They're shutting that shit down. They're literally shutting down NBC Sports Network. That's big news because Bellator's on there. That's also big news because the NHL's on there. So who knows what's going to happen to both of those two, but I thought that's just funny. 1 week after I spent a long time making fun of it, NBC Sports Network is going down by the end of the year. So there's your news for the day. But outside of that, man, gotta always shout out our sponsor, Rogue Energy. Amazing podcast as always. I'm at Josh Soundoff on Twitter. He's at Angel_1 at Courtside Sound 1 on Twitter. Also available on Instagram. We're available on every single podcast platform you could imagine. We're everywhere, so if you guys want to give us, those likes, those follows, those subscribers, we appreciate it. Outside of that, that's all I got. Peace and butt grease. Mouse click.